You're watching Connected Digital World, and we're here talking about the Elder Scrolls Online.
Hi, this is Andrew from Connected Digital World. At a recent event with Bethesda Softworks, I got the opportunity to play the new Elder Scrolls Online game, and I really enjoyed it. After playing, I had the chance to sit down in a group interview with Matt, the game director. So here's that interview with Matt, and there's also some new gameplay footage in there for you too. Enjoy.
I was wondering, was it challenging putting some single player feeling, the feeling of a single player series into an MMO?
Yeah, in general, yes, that's difficult, but since we started this with being kind of an Elder Scrolls multiplayer game instead of a traditional MMO, it made it easier for us because we could look at Oblivion and Skyrim and see kind of how their PC combat worked and base our combat off of that. So if you noticed when you sat down, it felt, if you played PC, Oblivion or Skyrim, it should have felt very familiar. And so that's how we made it easier on us, is doing that.
So about that, points overlapping with our titles, what advantage we have players that play the previous titles compared to people that didn't play them?
Well, they'll understand the races and the lore, and they'll know background about the game, but they don't have to have played the other games.
Okay, but there's anything specific?
No, the combat system, I think if they played the PC version, I think they'll understand the combat system very easily. Hold down the left mouse, do a big attack, tap it to do a fast attack, right click to block. All of that's very, very standard in Elder Scrolls. So I think they'll be able to sit down and play it because of that. Just combat will be much easier for them.
What have the challenges been for creating the first-person view that you showed last night?
The big challenge there is, and this is the one, actually it's a quick question because it's one of the few places where multiplayer and Elder Scrolls don't always interact as well as they should. And this is in an online world. The world is 360 degrees around you. And so there can be enemies behind you, there can be enemies in front of you. In PvP, there will absolutely be enemies behind you. So the single-player games were made very much with enemies spawn in front of you, and you don't have to worry so much about them going behind. I think there are one or two monsters try to go behind you in Oblivion, in Skyrim, like the wolves. But ours, we have to make sure that you can see all the way around you. So we had to make sure that third-person worked well for that, and so we developed the whole game with third person, and just because we know that players are going to want to do that from time to time. And now that we have third person down, now we can do first person. So which is separate animations and separate figures.
So do you see that there's going to be some players who are just going to never go into first person?
Yeah, and there'll be some players who never go into third, but most players I think will do a little bit of both, and wherever, and we make it very easy to switch between the two, just because of that.
What can we expect from this all social aspect of the game?
You mean the big window that?
No, there will be guild systems.
Yep.
What else? Parties or?
Yeah, so we've announced a lot of this already with our mega server, which is since we're shardless and we don't have any shards, it means that any player in the game can be your friend. So it doesn't matter what shard they're on because there's no shards. So our social systems are all built off of that. There's a giant community of people that I can be friends with, and so it's finding friends to play with, trading. All of that is much easier because you have the entire game population instead of just 2,000 people that are on your server. So yes, that's guilds. So you can be, because we now have a whole population to choose from, you can be in I think 5 guilds. So you can be in a PvP guild if you want, but you can also be in a fun role-playing my friends at the office, co-workers guild if you want. You could do all of that. So we're trying to make sure that you get a lot of choice in the different in the different groups that you play with.
So since you started, since you started the project, I suppose the MMO landscape changed quite a bit with free-to-play and stuff. So did you change your some aspects of the project during years?
So in the first early parts, when we're first designing the game in the very early days, yeah, we looked around, saw what other people were doing. All of us on the project worked at other MMO companies, so we have lots of experience with the different systems. But once we made the decision to make a multiplayer Elder Scrolls game, it kind of didn't matter what the other games were doing. That gave us our path to this is what we're doing, and then when that starts, you just stop looking at what other people are doing, and you focus on making your game the best that you can.
And so you think you're gonna have enough values to ask for a monthly fee, or you're?
We're not talking about a revenue model, but we'll have a lot of content. It's we've been one of the positive aspects of working on a game for as long as the development cycle for this one is that we will launch with lots of things to do for many different types of play styles.
You mentioned this morning when we were playing, if you played all the quests that you've currently got back to back, it was going to take a certain amount of time. Do you want to repeat that? I think it was something several 100,000 hours or something like that. You guys were saying.
I wish it was that. Yeah. So at launch, and this is our own internal. Obviously, players are going to want to run through the content faster. But for a general player, each alliance takes about 150 hours to play through, and you can play through all 3 alliances. So that's a ton of content, and that doesn't count instance dungeons or PvP or any of those ancillary systems like that. So. You don't like to talk about content in terms of hours generally, but it gives you an idea of the scope. Some players will go through it much faster, some will go through it slower. It's okay.
It's not a small game.
Yeah, it's not a small game, and it's not a race. To play it. It's you can hopefully by accentuating more of the Elder Scrolls nature of the game and less of the MMO. It'll give players the sense that they don't need to race through the content to get level cap, because as you saw, we're as much skill based as we are level cap based. So even at level 50, you can put down your sword and pick up a bow and learn bow skills. Like you can learn new skills at level 50. It's not capped in any way.
There will be worldwide or alliance server-side events, public quest.
So the PvP system is mostly mostly what that is for us. So yes, that is the biggest system that players get into and control themselves. There's the public events. There are some smaller PvE things that happen, but and public dungeons and things like that. But the bigger systems are the PvP ones for that.
So we are not thinking to arena PvP, more like e-sport.
No. We're open world, territory. It's territory-based PvP, not arena-based. So it's you and your alliance are fighting against 2 other alliances.
Is there a reason why you didn't choose to follow the e-sport path?
This isn't an e-sport game. It's Elder Scrolls is giant groups of people. Like in Skyrim, there's the civil war between the and this is very much that spirit. 3 factions fighting each other.
Oh. Yeah. We have played Daggerfall today, but what's great usually in the Elder Scrolls game is that you can come back to cities through all the game. So you think will be the same in the MMO? Because usually in the MMO you are in one area and then you move to another area and so on.
So you played a level 6 area, so that area you might not come back to, but after level 20, the next area that you'll get to, There are other cities, and you'll start coming back to them all the time, like on different quests will take you. Also, you missed this because you didn't do the tutorial today, but you go to Cold Harbor a lot, the Oblivion Plain. So that's the place you really travel to a lot at level. You're there at level 1, and you're there at level 50, and you go in all the time.
Okay.
Daggerfall is one of the starting areas.
Yeah, well, it's
Kind of.
it's level 6, but yeah. So you skipped the tutorial, and then the starter zone, and then another zone. So you skipped
Three of them.
3 areas. But the tutorial was 10 minutes long if you want it to be. You know, you can just run through it if you understand how.
The prison part.
Yeah, the prison part, exactly.
What formats is it going to be out on?
Format,
So it's going to be PC,
PC Mac.
and Mac only. Yeah.
Right now we are working on our Endgame PvE right now, but yes, it will be groups of groups. You know, it'll be large group based. But
Large group, okay.
yeah, but don't think WoW raids, because Elder Scrolls doesn't have 50-foot tall gods that you go fight against.
Okay.
They just don't. It's just not what we do. So it'll be different, but it will be group PvE. We might not call it raid, but it's definitely Endgame group.
Is there anything else in the end game? I mean, in terms of progression of your character?
Well, you can always learn new skills, and we didn't have this in the build you played today, but it's on our beta build, which is Fighters Guild, Mages Guild, which you might have seen them in Daggerfall City. They're there. We just despawned the quest giver, but you can join the Mages Guild, and when you join, you get another skill line. So you saw you had class, weapon, armor, and now you have class, weapon, armor, guild. And then you can have Fighters Guild, Mages Guild, and then you can learn more and more and more as you go up in levels.
So you can be part of more than one guild?
Yes, absolutely.
So and if you choose to join a guild when you are 50 or high levels, there would be any sense to do that, or you're gonna have some low levels?
You'll have some low level quests, but
Okay.
all the major guilds, Fighters Guild, Mages Guild, the quests go all the way up to level 50 also. So you'll quickly catch up to where you are. It'll be very easy in the beginning. But,
you want to join a guild early and then.
If you want to do it, as you level, you can do it, or you can wait to the end and go back and do it all at once. It's okay. Either way is fine.
So you almost mentioned something about mounts a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we do have.
I thought you were saying
That was
rides, not
unintended.
raids.
Yeah. No. We will have mounts. We have them in beta right now. So it's they're standard Elder Scrolls horses with different speeds. And we'll announce the specifics of that system later. But we do have mounts.
And like other Elder Scrolls game, can you like kill your mount or lose your mount or?
You can't kill your mount, but you can have multiple ones.
Okay.
So you can you can stable them and upgrade them. And we'll talk about all that later. But yes, it's a full system.
There's quite a lot of other animals in the game. Obviously, the quest this morning, the plague you had started off with the dog coming to it.
Yeah.
Is there quite a lot of that sort of stuff in it?
There is. It's we want it's a world. It's not just guys standing there that you talk to. So we want to make sure that there's a lot of things like going back in time and seeing events that happened, and then coming forward in time and seeing how your choices changed. What happened? There's we have fun with it, and so it's not just standard. RPG quests. We try to have fun with it.
And what's your planned release timeframe at the moment?
It's we're announced for 2013. We're in beta. Really, with these games, you guys know, it's like your beta test really tells you how you're doing. So we're going to launch when we're ready. You know, we're I think 2 months into beta now.
Is that an internal or public beta?
It's public. It's private, but it's
invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's public. It's we picked people who have signed up for beta. We've picked a couple thousand of them so far.
Are you planning something for the Italian market? I mean, localization?
For the Italian market, not at launch.
Okay.
We're concentrating on French, German, and English for launch.
What's the sort of feedback been so far on the beta?
Really good. The MMO RPG thing is what the biggest conversations have been about on our forums. Like definitely people are expecting an Elder Scrolls game, and RPG players expecting an Elder Scrolls game, MMO players are expecting an MMO. And so, and as you can see, we're kind of both, but we definitely approach the UI, combat, all from the Elder Scrolls perspective. So, if you're a hardcore guild leader in an MMO, you're going to need 5 or 10 minutes of thinking differently just when you sit down and play. But if you're an Elder Scrolls player, you can just sit down and you'll be comfortable.
Is there, if more than one person is going to do the same quest at the same time, is there going to be an issue where they have to wait for something to respawn? Or?
No, all of the interactions with NPCs are between you and the NPC, and when you talk to the NPC, you don't see other players.
That's good.
So even if you're grouped, you can make different.
We
You can
did see other players. I was looking at him talking to an NPC.
for some NPCs, yes. For the important ones, no.
Okay.
And if you're grouped, your choices are yours. Like you don't make choices for the group. Like you can choose different things if you're grouped.
So can you make some examples of these choices and consequences?
There's one good one just before you get to Daggerfall, so you missed it. There's an area that you go to called Betnik, which is an island, Orc Island, and the history of this is all from Elder Scrolls lore. It was originally Breton, so like the people in Daggerfall, but the Orcs invaded 150 years before and took over the island. So. And the way the Orcs defeated the Bretons was they had this magical device that basically it killed everyone. And so your quest in Betnik is to help the Daggerfall Covenant. You want to go back in time and find this device. And you have the choice when you find it. The Orcs tell you, destroy it because it killed all of our people. And the Bretons tell you, no, we want it because we want to have it aid the Dominion. And you have the choice of pissing off the Orcs or the Bretons, and if you have to choose one or the other, and one faction totally stops talking to you after that.
So then you have phasing to show different kind of. Okay.
Well, it's phasing, but it's also different conversations. So the Bretons, like if you choose to destroy the weapon, the Bretons will not really. The conversations will be much shorter, and they'll tell you you're dumb and you don't have the interests of the Alliance in mind.
Okay.
And that's for the duration of the
duration of the game.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it really is important to choose wisely.
No, obviously it doesn't get in the way of the important parts of the game, but yes, it definitely adds a lot of flavor to it. Also, some NPCs that you start the game with in the very, very beginner zone, depending on choices you make, will show up all the way up to level 50 for you. And depending on the choices you make, some show up and help you, some show up and make fun of you, and some don't show up at all. So it just depends.
Do you plan to have some vanity items store into the game?
Yeah, but we'll talk about all that later. Yeah, you can't have an MMO without cool pets and you know,
Funny
stuff
hats.
Like that,
Yeah, right.
yeah. I didn't say that.
That's cool. Don't worry.
So thanks to Matt for taking the time to talk to us, and don't forget to click on the link on the screen now to subscribe to us. And please like the video as well. And you can also see some exclusive gameplay of Bethesda's Wolfenstein: The New Order by clicking on the video shown on the screen now. And thanks again for watching.